The U.S. moves to place new duties on steel from China that's used in oil and gas production. Natural gas producers look to lock in buyers with long-term deals, but buyers are becoming scarce.
I'm Dan Goldstein in Washington. Coming up, it's back to the future for streetcars in Washington, D.C. Could your city be next? I'll have a look.
From the Energy News Center in Washington, D.C., this is the Energy Report with Susan McGinnis.
Good afternoon, I'm Susan McGinnis. Thanks for joining us for the Energy Report. Trade tensions between the U.S. and China are heating up. Today, the U.S. International Trade Commission voted to impose new duties on imports of steel pipes, mostly used in the oil and natural gas industry. Ranging between 10 and 16%, these duties are intended to offset low-price government subsidies that China provides to its steel makers. The United Steelworkers Union says the practice, known as dumping, has harmed the U.S. industry and caused more than 2,400 job losses this year. The Commerce Department says imports of Chinese steel pipes rose nearly 360% from 2006 to 2008. This case is the largest steel trade dispute in U.S. history. It'll impact about $2.7 billion worth of Chinese imports. Oil prices fell below $79 a barrel today before heading back up after the latest crude inventory report showed supplies fell less than expected. The EIA says that supplies were down for the fourth week in a row last week, down 1.5 million barrels, while analysts were looking for a 2 million barrel drawdown. Oil ended the day at $79.28 a barrel, managing a 41-cent gain. Natural gas closed down 14 cents to $5.70 per thousand cubic feet. And it's being called a sign that low natural gas prices are probably here to stay. The Wall Street Journal says big U.S. energy companies want to lock in long-term contracts with their customers, including electric utilities, as long as 5 to 10 years. These deals give natural gas companies the security of buyers, and since it would give them no profit if prices went up, that's why it's seen as a sign that prices are not going anywhere soon. The trend is being pinned on the huge new shale gas finds in Texas, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, and elsewhere that will leave a glut on the market and has pushed prices below $6 per million BTU, less than half what the price was at mid last year. Chesapeake Energy CEO Aubrey McClendon told the Journal the days of double-digit gas prices in the U.S. are over. Some companies are finding customers reluctant, though, to lock in these prices. Producers are slashing budgets and selling their assets. Meantime, homeowners are said to come out the big winners. They can expect to pay, apparently, more than 10% less for gas heat this winter over last. Chesapeake Energy is a supporter of the American Clean Skies Foundation, which supports Clean Skies News. Somali pirates have attacked a Kuwaiti-flagged oil tanker but were unable to seize it. Pirates raided this 105,000-ton MV Album about 800 nautical miles east of the northern coast of Somalia. Crew members fought off the attackers with no injuries to themselves or damage to the ship. Companies looking to build a new power transmission line through Northern Virginia are now asking state regulators to withdraw their application, saying new forecasts for energy demand are rendering the project unnecessary. Allegheny Energy and American Electric Power say new energy models are showing the power that this multi-state Potomac-Appalachian transmission highline or path would provide may not be needed by 2014, as was previously thought. Opponents have wanted regulators to pull the plug on the project for a while. Both sides appeared today before a judge with the Virginia State Corporation Commission. They will issue a recommendation to regulators next week. This 275-mile line would run from AEP's coal-fired John Amos plant in West Virginia through Northern Virginia to a substation near Kemptown, Maryland. Well, it was only a few years ago that Washington celebrated the return of the green grass of a baseball diamond back to the Capitol. Well, now another part of D.C.'s past may be returning. This one may be even more green. Clean Skies' Dan Goldstein takes a look at the return of the streetcar.
What was once old is now new again. The streetcar, which hasn't run in the nation's capital since 1962, is coming back. 2 miles of new line are coming to Washington, starting in 2012, part of what may become an 8-line network. City planners here in D.C. see streetcars as a way to spur development, halt sprawl, and above all, get more people out of cars, helping cut emissions even lower than if they took the bus.
It's not just allowing people to take the streetcar, but it's allowing a dense enough development and fostering dense enough development that people aren't just taking the streetcar. Maybe they're walking somewhere. Maybe they're, getting a bike sharing membership with our Smart Bikes program, and so that they're taking a bike trip. But it just creates an environment where people can get out of their cars and sort of live without them.
And it's not just construction like this here in Washington, D.C. that's on the fast track. More than a dozen cities around the nation are getting a big boost in funding thanks to Uncle Sam. The Obama administration has pledged more than $320 million for light rail and streetcar projects nationwide through the Recovery Act. That includes cities like Dallas, Denver, Phoenix, Portland, and Seattle. Bill Millar, who heads the American Public Transit Association trade group, says he hasn't seen a White House more supportive of public transit in a very long time.
We are seeing an administration that not only is adopting policies that are friendly to public transit, but wherever they can are funding projects that will improve mobility for Americans, but at the same time help cities and communities revitalize and grow.
And the White House is planning more federal funding for public transit. About $280 million in streetcar and other urban circulator grants as part of a joint venture between HUD, EPA, and the DOT will be announced in 2010. Dan Goldstein, Clean Skies News.
And the maker of those DC streetcars, Skoda Innoconn of the Czech Republic, has allowed a U.S. company, United Streetcar of Clackamas, Oregon, to license and produce those cars as demand in this country picks up. And it kind of looks like Professor X's wheelchair in the X-Men movies. Japanese Prime Minister Hatoyama today took a spin in Toyota's new single-seat electric i-Rail car as part of a demonstration to promote a green economy. Faced with fading support as the country struggles to maintain its fledgling economic recovery, the Prime Minister outlined a new set of measures to spur growth in the next decade. And the new plan includes creating a $540 billion market for environmentally friendly products and renewable energy that will create, it says, 1.4 million jobs. Well, that's the Energy Report. We'll see you again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the Morning Report. And for any suggestions or comments you may have about our programming here on Clean Skies News, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at contact@cleanskies.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, too. From all of us here in the Energy News Center, good night.